Hello, hello, and welcome. So I'm just checking that I am live in the group, and I am, which is fantastic. So welcome everyone to the masterclass, which is the end of our 3-day challenge, which we've done on the sugar challenge. And today masterclass is on how to create the life without sugar. And you're probably asking yourself and like, oh, I can't live without sugar. Sugar is such a, or sweet food or any kind of the food like cakes and this and that is such a comfort for me. How I can live without it, I have no clue, and I don't know. Right, so I'm gonna hopefully give you a lot of answers today, if not answers, things or to think about. And also, obviously, in the group, you can ask the questions. So this masterclass will be available for you for the next, I think, until the end of January, so that you can always come back and ask the questions. It is full packed of information. So grab something to drink. I have my water. Grab something to write on if you want to take notes, but you can always watch it on replay. And I would love to have you on board in here asking questions. Now, there's going to be at some point in other social medias. So if you are watching this on replay, you can also put in the comments and questions around this topic. And I hope to help you as much as I can. So let's start it. Have some fun with it. Life without sugar, and I will explain what I'm talking about, can be truly fantastic and could have a lot of benefits, something that probably we never expected, right? We could have energy levels, we can have better skin, we can obviously lose some weight, which is always the byproduct. But also, I've always treated the food or something that I can have, I don't have to. And I've tested myself over the years with different things like coffee, for example, that I'm happy without it, but I'm okay to have it from time to time. And this is the true freedom. Of course, ditching the sugar, and I will tell you all about it, has immense and wonderful health benefits. But it also is a kind of a mental freedom that I don't have to grab any sweet snacks if I don't want to. I'm in control of it, and then I'm creating a healthier life for myself. All right, so let's go into the presentation so I can tell you more about it. Okay, so this is a presentation for today. You can ask me questions, but I wanted to give you a little bit more information rather than just me talking. So a bit of introduction who I am. So I'm a certified holistic health coach, transformational mindset coach, and I specialize in the habit change method. I help predominantly people with diabetes and prediabetes who naturally, that with the mindset, nutrition, stress management. And I also help people to introduce holistically optimum carb lifestyle for long-term health benefits. I'm also holistic naturopathic chef, and I absolutely love it. This is the career change for me. So at the mark of, I think, about 15 years in my corporate career, decided that I need something else. I need to test myself in other areas. I need my brain to work. I have outgrown what I could have achieved in my job, and I wanted something different. And this has become my passion. And I've started with naturopathic chef because I'm a very practical person. Like, give me the theory, but then I will go in and apply it, right? I'm not a person who just studies hundreds of books and there is no application. So naturopathic chef combine both of it, nutrition and experience in the kitchen, because every Saturday we were coming to the kitchen, and our final exam was actually putting the whole holistic, healthy menu for people who come in, and they could taste all our food. It was absolutely amazing working within the group. Yes, challenging for sure, but also very, very nice. And if I could have done it again, I would do it. And I'm looking into it because it's such an inspirational thing. You can always learn something. I'm also type 1 diabetic, and I was diagnosed when I was 17. I'm going to be 45 this year. So quite a long time on the sugar roller coaster. And that's why I said sugar and carbs is the story of my life, because like I have, like, show me the label in the middle of the night and I will be able to tell you what's on it and can I have it or not, because I had to taught myself to calculate the carbs, to understand how much insulin I should take, whether I can have this food or not, and how to really avoid the sugar spikes, which with type 1 diabetes is very tricky. It's very tricky because you never know what's going to work for your body. So for me and for my clients and for anyone who I help, mindset is a game, but also mindset for health. And emotions rule our life and quite often dictate the choices we make around food and drinks overall. So keeping our goals clear along with our desires and vision will help you to get where you want to be. I believe in creating new neural pathways within our brain, which are basically telling us through the feelings and emotions, telling us to create healthy habits for us. If we are really set our mindset for success with anything, we can create the habits that are sustainable, and that's what's gonna happen. Okay, so I want you to do a short exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and really take a few deep breaths to calm down the nervous system. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in 3 months' time. How do you feel? I want you to see yourself, clothes you're wearing, the color of the clothes, the surroundings where you are at the moment, maybe light rain or wind on your face and sun, and that you're moving with lightness, that you have that energy and empowerment within yourself because you've set up the habits that fully support your healthy lifestyle. You feel good in your skin. You feel good about yourself. You love yourself. Take a 3 deep breaths. Now, I want you to imagine yourself on the same journey, but imagine one obstacle you may meet on your journey to get there. What would that be, and how would you tackle it? For example, I'm bored, I need a distraction. I know that I will be reaching for snacks when I know that I'm not hungry. What will I do? How I will be celebrating, how I will show up for myself during social events. What about stressful situation? How I will show up for myself? What would be my food choices then? You may not have all the answers, but I want you to imagine yourself as an empowered, strong individual that can find the solution, but also loving yourself, be compassionate for yourself, even if you feel like you failed. Take a deep breath and in and out. And you can open your eyes. So visualization is very important part of where I want to be in my life. And that really concerns the life, the health, my emotions in it. Okay, so when it comes to removing the sugar from your diet, so one of the things we're looking at the low glycemic nutrition. Now, it doesn't mean that you will never ever have a chocolate cake again. It's basically making yourself stronger in your awareness around food, making you stronger in your own values. So if you go to a social event, you don't overeat, you know what to choose, and you're choosing this for yourself. You're choosing this because you want it, because you want to feel good, want to have the energy and stabilize your sugar levels. The more you do it, the better your sugar levels will be, and the stronger you're gonna be to really remove some of those foods. So here I'm talking about the food we have every day. I'm not talking about the cake we have once in a while. But then you may make a decision that I'm going to go to that event, but actually I'm not going to have that cake, or I'm only going to have one slice, and that will be enough. Quite often we overeat at different social events. So looking at the nutrition, we're making a healthy swaps. We're reducing the amount of refined sugars, and at the same time, with the view we're going to banish them completely. So part of the challenge was to remove some of the things from your cupboards, looking at, do I need all the syrups, condiments, jams, all of the things that we may potentially have in our life every day, and something that we want to remove. We want to be adding healthy, nutritious food and removing the snacks which are not necessarily the healthiest. So my approach is really the optimum carb, really replacing the simple carbs with complex carbs, with making nutrition simple, because of one of the main aim of nutrition is to increase the insulin sensitivity. So our insulin works properly within our body. And when the insulin is correct, so we don't have peaks and lows, the cravings may go away. Everything else will be easier, right? But we have to get off that sugar roller coaster. So what happens with the sugar roller coaster, just briefly on that, what happens is that when we eat some sugary food, our blood sugar levels are going up. And I explained this in the challenge that it doesn't matter whether you are pre-diabetic or struggling with diabetes. Even within the healthy individuals, within the range, you can have a lot of peaks and a lot of lows. They may not be picked up by the test, but your body picks it up. And in the longer term, it may be problematic. So we are within the range, but still we have peaks. So when we have a peaks, a lot of insulin is secreted, we overeat, and then our sugars go up. And then insulin's again starting to work, and we are on this roller coaster all the time. So we want to replace the simple carbs we have with complex carbs. We want to add a lot of vegetables and fruits. I'm not very restrictive in what they should be. There may be some portion sizes, and we're adding a lot of green food. That's also something that works for some of my clients, that they've noticed that when they add green foods, they have less cravings. And other thing is healthy fats, avocados, chia seeds, nuts, seeds if you can have them, and some good oily fish if you eat fish. Another thing is to combine food with to lower the impact on blood sugar levels. So when you have a yogurt, preferably plain with no added sugar, add to it almond butter, nuts and seeds. Eat fruit with almond butter or nuts. Eat fiber food first before eating carbs. Very simple, and I will give you some examples, and there are plenty of examples in the materials I have shared with you on the Google Drive. So make sure that you go and check that out too. So snacking, let's talk about snacking, because there are different ways to deal with it, and there are two different layers in snacking. First of all, it really is the physical hunger. So we didn't eat enough in our main meal, and the emotional eating, which I will address a little bit later. So science on snacking is not clear. It is very individual, because at the end of the day, when you eat, so it depends what kind of snack you have, and also how physically active you are, because you may in the end not overeat, right? So you may not necessarily have a big amount of calories, but we're talking about sugar levels. So the advice is very varies. For example, in some of the countries, and one of this is Poland, when I visited my dad and I was helping him, they said like he needs to eat small meals, snacking almost like 6 times a day. And I think this could be relevant to people on insulin. Insulin, when you have injected insulin, when your insulin is not working and it's not enough, and you are diabetic, you are on medications and insulin, but not on a pump. So on insulin, the insulin works whether you eat or not. So to avoid maybe lower sugar levels, sometimes the snacking is recommended, or smaller meals basically over a longer period of time. But of course, they should be also sugar-free, but in a way that they should be free from sugars and refined sugars, but also be nutritionally balanced. But more and more evidence is coming that we oversnack, right? So the reason is, and I will explain why, especially because we have a very sedentary lifestyle, we put on weight, and we are at risk of several long-term health issues. Snacking composition has changed so over the years. So the snacks, if you buy them in packets and all of that, they are sweeter, because obviously producers want to make them tastier and more addictive, and they want to make them cheaper to produce. UK also, unfortunately, is outside of EU at the moment. European Union actually should be. So is not subject to food safety regulations anymore. And food safety regulation from EU are actually very, very stringent. So there may be some relaxation in the requirements, and actually that is being introduced regarding the GMO, so genetically modified organisms and genetically modified food. So it obviously refers not only to snacking, but food overall. But I think it would be easier to put in all this long-term, long life shelf products, where you keep them for long on the shelf, to make them full of those different things. Homemade snacks are like energy balls or energy bites are really good, and or better options obviously, and veggies and fruits. So snacking is not a replacement for a healthy main meals, and or how many you have, and plenty of water in between. So snacking could help us in when we have more intensive exercise. That's completely understandable. But what happens in our brain when we snack and when we eat a main meal? Main meal obviously is important from our nutritional point of view, but also is important from the psychological point of view, because we have the time to eat the food. So we sit by the table, and our brain, over the longer period of times, your meals should last at least 20 to 30 minutes, so that our brain can fully register the whole experience and feel satiated and feel full after the meal. Snacking will never fill us up. And I want you to do the experiment, because when I snack, when I don't eat properly, and I just want to snack by snack by snack, because I'm never full. I just want a little bit here, a little bit there, and I just find myself overeating so easily, because it's never satisfied my requirements. So meals, and sitting down for meals, eating them not in a rush, it really is critically important, also from the psychological level. It's also about what you choose and how much, of course. And choose low glycemic snacks such as olives, eggs, cherry tomatoes, pieces of tofu, berries, nuts and seeds are all the best. In terms of the nuts and seeds, we really should have a handful. We don't. They are very high in calories, a good fat, but still we don't want to overeat that. So, and it's good to put yourself a portion on the plate, right, rather than from the packet, so you know exactly how much you have and you don't overeat. Different diets. Let's talk about different diets because I found it very, very, very interesting. And yeah, so keto diet is viewed by most nutritionists and dietitians as a very difficult to sustain in the longer term. And I have a lot of keto diets, people who have been on keto diets or who are on keto, and suddenly they're so afraid of eating carbs because they're getting the results from keto diet, but they're not feeling 100% well. So they have no energy, they feel exhausted, they feel hungry quite often. And in order to be in a proper keto diet, and I'm not a specialist, I don't support it as such, like in a long-term solution. It is good for maybe shorter period of time just to check it. But 70% of food choices must come from fat. So to be in a true ketosis. So ketosis is when your body burns fat for energy, not glucose. And this would be a typical plate. Like, so for many people, it could be replaced with some plant-based protein in here. But plant-based protein usually don't have a lot of fat. So it is possible, but even harder to do in many instances. And then this is, quite heavy. I probably will fill you up, but will you feel that energy? Because a lot of people have that kind of type of body, and I can find it with people who are quite, especially physically active, that they have no energy because their body is not used to burning fat for energy. So it's not always passable. Now, there is a little bit of small print in here, but it's intermittent fasting. So it's about when you eat food. I love intermittent fasting. I believe that it's such a good way of actually fitting in. It's all about when you eat. So fitting in, and then you can do intermittent fasting, which really don't eat a lot for 1 or 2 days. And I think we just need a little bit of being guided through that when you suddenly try to fast. And of course, fasting has been used for healing purposes for ages, right? But it has to be done correctly, especially how you break the fast. Cleansing, detoxing, fasting is the first principle, naturopathic principle. This is the first thing I've learned, that quite often when we don't know what's going on, cleansing and detox can help to figure out food intolerances. And quite often it is recommended by nutritionists. It has a bad press sometimes because people treat it as a quick fix for losing weight, and that's not the purpose of it. So if done right, it can be very beneficial to improve metabolic flexibility, so switching between fat and sugar for energy. So my kind of thing is fasting 16 hours. So my last meal is at 6 o'clock. Then I have the next day 8-hour eating window, so from 10 o'clock. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Sometimes I don't keep it when, especially I travel. For diabetics, I have to be mindful when my sugar level is going really low. I probably just have to stop fasting. So I'm listening to my body. Low carb. So that's another thing. Low carb is generally recommended for people with diabetes. And the problem with the low carb, it depends what you follow. For me, normally we would have over 300 grams of, like, nobody counts carb because it's very difficult, but normally we would have over 300 carbs per day. So low carb is 50 grams and lower. So most of the regimes, it is quite low. Very difficult. So you have to exclude some of the vegetables, some fruits, and it becomes very, very restrictive and again unsustainable for a lot of people on the long term. So I mean, there is a lot of, like, for vegans especially, low carb is very difficult because legumes are also carbs and they are excluded, but they are also source of protein, so you need to have them. And the grains, for example, are sometimes excluded, like rice and everything else. Obviously, rice we can live without, but there's some grains like buckwheat, millet, which are ancient grains, and they are very good for you. They add variety to your diet. It doesn't have to be potatoes all the time, right? Um, so I'm okay with it to a certain extent, but if the lower you go on the carb, the less food you will be able to include, and um, and it becomes problematic because again, it not necessarily is sustainable way of eating, right? So uh, it is the choice. My kind of thing is optimum carb plan. It's about 150 grams, mainly from vegetables and fruits. And obviously then some complex carbs, like a sourdough bread, a bit of the whole wheat pasta, or whole grain rice or wild rice, and I'm fine. My sugar levels don't go up when I have a little bit of sugar. One of the things is in measuring how your body reacts to different food is actually having continuous glucose monitoring system. So get yourself a sensor. I will post the link where you can get it and measure your sugars and measure how your body reacts to different sugars, to different combination of food for 2 weeks, because you get one sensor 14 days, and then you have some data and you can understand. And I will be doing that with a group of people, with volunteering group of people, probably in March. So if you want to join, let me know. So we will have to buy the sensor. We're going to be together in the group and I will be guiding you. Okay, so using sweetness. Now, a lot of small print again, but I wanted to address the using of sweetness. Like, is it a good replacement, right? So sweetness can be a stepping stone in a low glycemic and sugar-free lifestyle. And sometimes is needed or are needed by people to make a transition easier. Quite often they are called, not all of them, but most of them, non-nutritive sweeteners. So they have no nutritional value. So when we think about sugar, it has calories. Normal sweeteners usually don't have the calories, but they don't have anything else. So they are purely for taste. So all sweeteners are chemically extracted, even stevia, which we have been told in my courses that is a natural sugar occurring in plants, which is in leaves, special leaves. It's true. It has to be chemically extracted. And they sometimes produce using the alcohol, and it may affect the safety factor to use, may impact the metabolism, insulin release, gut microbiome, which really they affect. Those are unknown substances for our body. We never had that before. We had the sweetness from the plants, right? But they've never been processed or chemically extracted, right? So our gut microbiome, which is so important, may suffer because of that. So how much is safe to consume? Now, the thresholds are quite high. So I was reading a lot of research, and they are never conclusive. Those researches are very difficult sometimes to do. But basically, the threshold is quite high. But the problem may be that in one product we have blends of different sweeteners. So how they react, and it's very easy to overeat, then overconsume if they've been blended and we're not controlling one thing. The biggest challenge for people are the diet fizzy drinks, which is the massive industry, a massive challenge. Like, I'm going to have it because it has 0 calorie, right? And they can be removed step by step. I used to, like, for me, I have to have diet drinks, but I don't have them anymore. I told myself I need water, and there are some nice fizzy drinks now which don't even have a lot of sugar, but water is fine, right? We have to get used to a less sweeter step, but they can be removed step by step. It's all about the consumed quantity. It seems like, we just have to be mindful, and but also they have a massive impact on the environment as well because of the carbon content. A lot of sugary free drinks are very acidic, so maybe there won't be any correlation in terms of how much of the sweetness they have, because we would have to drink, and I know that some people may actually drink a lot of cans of those drinks, so they have to be very mindful. But most of us, we don't really drink that much, but they may have an impact, a massive impact on tooth decay, especially children, right? So replacing sugar with sweeteners may help many people to start controlling their blood sugar levels. There is theory in place that they still may contribute to increased levels of insulin, therefore having an impact on appetite and consuming more food as a consequence. Stevia, I said that plant leaves, they're chemically extracted. It probably is one of the best, but still can negatively impact gut health, as stevia is produced within our gut as the metabolic byproduct, and it can be toxic. So if you drink 2 cans of stevia sweetened beverages per day, you should be fine. But of course, we just have to be mindful of that. Okay, reaching for snacks and sweet food as a distraction. That's a big topic, and I think somebody asked about it. Boredom eating from time to time is completely normal. We're not going crazy in that because I want snack. It's completely normal, so I want to normalize it. But trying to really change it with force usually has the opposite effect. The more we forbid this ourselves and don't want to have it, then the more it is on our mind to have it. So it just has the opposite effect. So eating foods we usually triggers dopamine. So when we are bored, we want some distraction. When we feel like, oh, we want some excitement, food is exciting for our brain. So we usually need dopamine. So it's the pleasure hormone, and quite often we need it quickly. So that's why we have those urges. Yeah, we have the urge to eat something because that dopamine is very low and we want it. So we can, however, learn to control it with less damage to our health. So first of all, eat away from distraction, right? So no TV or computer. Eat away from the desk. Serve on the plate so you can control portion sizes. Don't eat it from the packet, right? Have it on the plate. Ask yourself why you need snacks at various points of the day. So, it's a bit of the cognitive behavioral therapy. Like, I'm stressed at this time of the day and I've reached for snack, and with compassion, no judgment, right? We're bringing things into awareness to change it. So awareness is the key to actually really distinguish between emotional eating and physical hunger. Because when you ask yourself, I actually was hungry at 2:00, so maybe my lunch wasn't right. I needed some more nutritional value in my lunch. I will take that into consideration. Next day, I'm going to prepare something more nutritious. Things to try: EFT. This is tapping. So you tap on the meridian points. You can repeat some mantras in there, and it works. It actually works. Then you have a glass of water after the tapping theory and therapy, which I'm probably going to record at some point. And you can help yourself that way. Going out to breathe in the fresh air, journaling, therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT is quite useful. Ensuring all other main meals are nutritious, and have healthy snacks ready, and eat green food every day. So one of the other things I'm doing, for example, at the beginning of the day, I want to make sure that I'm adjusting my neural pathways or rewiring my neural pathways in my brain. So when I wake up, I have like a mantra. So beginning of the day, when I'm bored, I will do this. So when I'm bored, I will have a break, go out to the cold air at the moment, have a glass of water. So this is my strategy. And for example, eat a piece of fruit, or don't eat anything. Yeah, give myself 10-20 minutes to see how I feel after that, right? And then maybe journal a little bit. So I have a strategy in place right from the beginning of the day. Now, when I'm going out and particularly physically busy, I have the snacks ready. I have my meals ready to make sure that they are nutritious. I have my water ready. So I'm ready. When I'm going out of the door, I have that ready and take it with me. Movement. Now, I always told that removing the sugar is a holistic approach. It's not about nutrition only. I mean, nutrition is very important, but everything else as well, because we can add sweetness into our life. So movement is one of these. We feel emotionally better. It is good to find other nourishing activities that can help us on the journey. It's all about fun and energy. Remember that we lose weight or get the nutritious in the kitchen and we get fit in the gym. And this is a bit of some key principles, what we should be doing on a weekly basis. But it should be fun, right? It should be fun. And I go to Pilates, which I absolutely love. I'm strengthening my body. I went to the gym and I was seeing a lot of people really exercising hard, and I felt very inspired to go back to the gym and do it myself. So where are you can add more movement that is fun? Yeah, what is fun for you and how you want to move your body? Hydration, very important. Sometimes we mistake our dehydration for hunger, especially we have a lot of heated air in our houses because it's winter here in UK. So we may feel quite thirsty, but we can mistake this by hunger and we overeat instead of drinking. So water is very important. We also need to plan to drink our water, have water bottles ready, have glasses of water ready when you have them. Sorry, so I have this here. Measure how much you drink, flavor your water. Not always, because we need to look after our teeth. We don't want the drinks to be too acidic, but the lemon water right in the morning, it really is brilliant. Journal, like measure and see how much you're actually drinking. Okay. Accountability, important. This is putting your health back on track. It can be a lonely journey. So loneliness is one of the reasons that people give up, as it is too hard for them. So having someone that can understand where you are through the life changing, especially when your family and friends do not get it, local community, online program, having a coach as an accountability partner, or other people within the group, like my group here on Facebook as well. Get off the blood sugar roller coaster. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the show notes. So support each other, give yourself ideas, what you want to do, how do you want to show up for yourself, and find the accountability partner in the group. You can ask, does anyone want to be my accountability partner? Celebration. Very important to celebrate in a right way. So can you celebrate without food and drink? How would that look for you? It's important to transform the thinking that you should always celebrate with food, like celebration. We have to have cakes. Even we have celebration sweets. Like it's just like you remember when you look at the world, especially in December, there's just chocolate everywhere. Everyone is like, sweet food is fun. Sweet food is just like, so you have this picture in your mind that that's what it should be, right? But it can be fun without it. It's the same like with alcohol. People's like, I won't have a good fun without alcohol. But this is only the mindset. This is which stays in you, thinking that I need this to feel this, which is just a trap. And I always feel like we need more freedom in our life. Freedom from food, freedom from drinks, and have our own choice and our own control over our own life and choices. So celebrate. So how can you celebrate your progress? I mean, you say like, I'm 3 days. Like, I want you to post in this group and say, I'm 3 days without sugary snacks. I'm 3 days with this. I feel like that. Like, celebrate, share with us. It's so inspiring. Okay. So my typical day on optimum carb protocol. I have been on that protocol through the whole January, because in December I wasn't feeling that great. I put on a lot of weight, which I didn't even know. I've put myself on the scales, like something is not right. My jeans and everything else is just not fitting me. There is something not right. Most of it was a result not from overeating, but from basically bad sugar levels. So whenever I have low sugar levels, I just was doing so much. I was overeating a lot of snacks. So I wanted to change that. So I've put on in the protocol healthy fats, protein, and green food, eating that before I have any carbs, to be honest, and keeping my carbs low, 150 grams or lower, in veggies and fruit. I don't exclude any kind of food. I'm more mindful about it. And I do sometimes have the occasional chocolate. So I eat my breakfast at around 10 a.m. unless I travel. I have a glass of water with a lemon and a cup of herbal tea, sometimes coffee with oat milk, plain yogurt with nuts and seeds, chia seeds, almond butter. Sometimes I have a smoothie, but again, I drink it slowly. It's savory smoothie. I add healthy fats like almond butter to it. It's just delicious. But you have never tried cherry, like you have sour, like a cherry. You can have frozen cherries. It's a bit of chocolate, frozen cherries. Maybe you can put some spinach as well, some almond butter, chia seed. Like it's just such delicious smoothie. Piece of toast with smoked salmon, an egg, and avocado. Sometimes I have that as well. Lunch is a salad with protein, bowl of soup. Dinner, 4 beans chili, stir-fried corn, bolognese, fish with rice and broccoli. Drinks, herbal teas, water, cacao. So no sugar. Supplements, I take supplements, B12, D3, garlic and capsules, multivitamin, zinc. And I have fruits, apple, oranges, berries, sometimes banana in between, especially when I exercise. It's not about perfection. Right. So that's it. That is all in terms of the knowledge. I just want to tell you a few of the things I have to help you further on your journey. There are 6 steps to reverse diabetes naturally, free ebook. You can download it from this website, Reverse Diabetes Naturally. It has 6-step holistic process in which you can find out how to reverse diabetes or pre-diabetic condition, right? If you know that you are at risk. I have this online course as well, and I'm so glad to announce it's the cost of it is £67. It's until the end of January. When you join, you can do it at your own pace, but you have twice a month live clinics with me where I'm on Zoom call and I can answer any questions. But you do the materials in the course on your own. There are videos, there are things to do, but you can come back to the live clinics and ask me questions. And there are 4 modules available right now, with more modules coming in when you join, so that you are not overwhelmed with all this information. 12 modules on mindset nutrition is designed to be a 3-month course. So with the support, at the moment is a lifetime support. As long as I run the course, you can always jump into the clinic and ask the questions and when you need a little bit of coaching. I also run this program, which is going to start on the 10th of February. This is my like a cornerstone program. I've started this doing it a long time ago. It's a 10 days for cleanse your mind and body. Gentle detox, gentle cleanse. If you want to reset your habits, have more energy, better focus, time for self-care, more mindfulness around food choices and recognizing food intolerances. For example, some people during the program may discover that some allergies have disappeared because they remove some of the food and then they've noticed that it's gone. Or when they start reintroducing some of the food, they say like, I'm not feeling good with so much gluten, for example, because we're going to remove gluten. So this is predominant to remove the food which is could cause allergies, but mainly it's sugar, alcohol, gluten, dairy, right? Some of those things we remove, but generally it's not fasting. You're not going to be on water for 10 days. It's actually 5 days of proper cleansing. and there is preparation before and after. So there is a lot of recipes in the book you can prepare. It just tells you what you need to remove from your food, just to give yourself a bit of a break from some of these foods, and maybe notice how you feel. Again, until the end of January, 67 pounds is a live program starting on 10th of February. Okay, so that's a last slide. That's fantastic. So I hope that you enjoy this fully packed masterclass on how to create life free from sugar. And I do what I preach, but I'm not perfect. And definitely wasn't perfect in December. And that's okay. I think life goes in a bit of a cycles, yeah. Quite often we have very good intentions to set something up. We know what to do, but we don't do it, right? So it's about understanding all of that, but understanding how your brain works. So I always combine in all of my programs this holistic approach, right? It's just having your mindset right and working on it all the time, together with the nutrition and other holistic things. Like, for example, I haven't mentioned sleep. So if you had a bad night's sleep, we wake up and you're not going to have energy for anything. So again, it's about having the strategy for the day. And I'm going to live on coffee all the time. Am I likely to grab more unhealthy snacks? Probably yes. So what I'm going to do about it? So bringing things into awareness rather than just be on an autopilot and just grabbing things here and then everywhere because you need the energy. And it's not about perfection. Those things gonna happen, but it doesn't mean that you are out of that's it, like, oh, I've managed to ruin everything I've been working so hard and now I have to start from all again. No, you pick up where you left off and then you continue with that. Okay, so thank you very much. Ask me the question. Would love to have you on board for some of my programs, and I will post the links how to sign up if this is something for you. If not, thank you for being here. Invite people to the group. I'm going to run this challenge again in, I think, April. I have a schedule of those, but in the meantime, I work on other programs. So I want you to invite other people who think that maybe, share this video with other people, invite them to the group if you are in a Facebook group, and let's do it together. Let's do it together, because I said accountability, being in a group, it's just the amazing feeling for that. And it will make you think that, okay, with like-minded individuals, I want to do it. And now is the time to do it. All right, take care. And until next time.